Kenneth Okonkwo don shake table. Im don scatter everywhere while knocking Tinubu, carpeting INEC chairman, blasting Julius Abure, and mocking those that are praising this Tinubu's government despite the harsh realities on ground. This is interesting, guys.
He said he has not declared his interest, but he is saying that they should sweep all the other parties clean or thereabout. And he is acknowledging the endorsements, changing administration to campaign, rather than checking where he has failed to know whether he can make amends for the next 2 years. They are indulging in campaign. APC has been an endorsement machine. From northwest to southeast to everywhere. Endorsement. They are trying to know who will endorse more. Flattery of sycophants and admiration of fools. We did not envisage such a situation, and I warned them beforehand. If you don't tackle this on time, such a scenario can emerge. The root of the crisis is in the fraudulent organization of a purported National Convention in Nnewi, where people fraudulently allocated posts to themselves and came out and started raising their hands that they are the members of the National Working Committee of a national party without election. By their own admission, there was no election because they said all of them came out unopposed. What other thing do you need to know that there was no election? Have you seen an election of any party that garnered up to 6-point-something million persons and the entire National Working Committee members came out unopposed? That is fraud. Even INEC was not invited according to law, and that was why INEC disassociated themselves from that purported convention. And even when INEC disassociated themselves, you saw the way those people that were claiming that were disgraced. And they went to court, and eventually the Supreme Court said their regime has come to an end, and if your regime comes to an end, you go in peace and leave the party alone. And the party constituted a caretaker committee, which is the only legitimate leadership of the party. But you are dealing with an INEC that has become a department of APC. Can you imagine an INEC that disassociated themselves from Abure, disgraced him out of their office, and the Supreme Court has now sided with INEC that Abure is not the legitimate leader of Labour Party, and INEC is now telling you they don't understand what the Supreme Court interpreted. An INEC that was represented by a son in that judgment is telling you they need time to understand the judgment of the Supreme Court. You need time to understand the judgment that was given in your favor as a supervisory organization, supervising the political party. You were the first to disassociate yourself from an Abure-led leadership. Now the Supreme Court has disassociated itself and the courts from Abure-led leadership. You are saying that you need time. Do you know what it means? First of all, the judgment of a court is an interpretation. And INEC is saying they need time to interpret an interpretation. What a shame. The whole idea of court is to make clear the wordings of the law. They have done that explicitly. And INEC is feigning ignorance that they did not understand what the court said. And they need time to interpret the interpretation. Is that not enough to sack everybody there for being grossly incompetent? They know what the court said. But they are waiting for order from APC to decide what they will do with Labour Party. Because their intention is to frustrate all the opposition parties, to bring opposition parties to disarray, so that they will not form a viable platform to oppose APC that is now their paymaster. They know that the Supreme Court has given a judgment. First of all, the judgment of the Supreme Court is final, and it's not supposed to last more than 24 hours before it's obeyed. And look at an organization that is paid by the taxpayers of Nigeria, spending months, and yet has not come out categorically clear to make a statement as to who is the leader of Labour Party. Professor Yakubu is the worst thing that can happen to any country in terms of electoral management, in terms of managing the electoral body. Just look at that. The judgment of the Supreme Court. A professor is telling you he does not understand what it means. With all the lawyers that are being paid, you don't understand that the Supreme Court said that the judgment of the lower court that recognized Abure as the leader of Labour Party is hereby set aside. You don't understand it? What is confusing about it? You don't understand the fact that when you rejected Abure, Abure went to court and used the court to force you to recognize him. And even in your portal, you said Abure is the national chairman of Labour Party by order of court. And court is now removing such tag from its head. And you're saying you don't understand. The court said, no, you cannot use the court to force yourself on Labour Party. That's what the court said. And you're saying you don't understand it? No, you do. But your incompetence and the corruption going on in INEC will stop people from doing the right thing. What you're doing is that you want to make all the opposition parties to be in disarray, to pave way for a smooth run for APC in 2027. And let me say this. This is not to exonerate the opposition parties from blame, because you cannot bring ant-infested wood into your house and not expect lizards to pay you a visit. So all these lizards from INEC, they are paying the opposition parties visits because they brought in ant-infested woods into their house. You have to put your house in order. Can you imagine Abure and his thugs doing everything against the law, and then the other members just looking at them? In Labour Party, there are no elected members at the ward level, at the local government level, at the state level, at the national level. Abure appointed all of them. In Nigeria, have you people been invited for any congress in Labour Party since you started working in New Central? You can contradict me if I'm telling a lie. What kind of party is that? So a party deserves the kind of leadership that it is looking for. So in 2023, Labour Party was available and the vehicle was used, and God blessed them with such a wave. But you see, only good character can sustain any of such wave. It has been blown into smithereens. So I want to tell you that INEC is playing the script of APC. Simple. Because the judgment of the Supreme Court is very clear. How can somebody go to High Court, win a case, and you, the INEC, called him back based on the order of court and he stated it, went to Court of Appeal, won the case, and Supreme Court gave a contrary judgment, and you still say you are thinking? That's a shame. They are not thinking, they are corrupt.